Learning is a lifestyle. I'm not thinking I'm going to learn and I'm going to stop. No, it's till I die, I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to be inquisitive, try and find know-hows, try and meet new people, get exposed to new things. You do realize the internet has both the right and the wrong information. If you're someone who has no wisdom, no knowledge, or know-how, how can you determine what's right and wrong? You can't. So for me, my mindset around that is I want to find the who's done this, can prove that they've done it, and they will show me the how. Your options are limited if you don't have money. You can't even inspire people around you when you don't have money. You can't do much. Success can mean a lot of things. I think to me, it's probably being able to provide. If I can impact people around me, be able to provide people around me, I feel like I'm successful off the back of that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Need to Succeed podcast. And this is what we do here. We bring on incredible entrepreneurs and really understand their journey, right? Like I always say on here, what we really want to find out is the mindset of successful entrepreneurs, because two people can go through the exact same situation. One person decides because of that situation, they can no longer achieve the things that they want to achieve in life. And someone else could go through the exact same situation and decide that they have to become wildly successful. The exact same situation, two different outcomes. What is the mindset of the person who goes on to become successful? That's exactly what we look to uncover on the Need to Succeed podcast. And today we've got an incredible entrepreneur, a property investor, a gentleman who was raised over £1 million in joint venture funding. So when you're talking about getting into property without using any of your own money, I think this guy knows a thing or two about how you can make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Alfred Dzadey.
Hi, thanks. Thank you.
How you doing, my boy? You good?
Good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. First thing first, did I get your...
No, it's halfway off.
Did I butcher it, yeah?
Nobody did butcher it, I can't lie to you.
You know what, I'm normally good at names, so I thought, you know what, let me just flex a little bit. Yeah?
No, it's Dzadey, but it's, no one's, I don't think anybody, unless you're like Ghanaian.
Dzadey, Nigerian.
Nigerian, yeah. So yeah, unless you're Ghanaian, even Ghanaians can get it wrong as well. So it's not a usual surname. Let's put it that way.
So I've got a green pass on that one.
Yeah, you got a green.
Cool, man. Honestly, bro, it's been, first of all, thank you very much for coming on here. Absolute pleasure. I said to you earlier on, I've been kind of watching you from afar and just really admiring what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Really, really cool to see. You know, really, really good to see. But really, what we've got a tradition on this podcast.
Yeah.
And the very first question that we ask is, you know, what does success actually mean to you?
Success can mean a lot of things. I think, to me, it's probably being able to provide, being a provider, being able to impact people around you. Like that for me ultimately is like success. And obviously, you can look at it in different ways. People look at monetary values and stuff, but like that's a byproduct of that, I think. So for me, it's like if I can impact people around me, be able to provide people around me, I feel like I'm successful off the back of that.
Okay, that's interesting. It's not typically one that we get. I mean, look, obviously people.
I'm different. That's
Listen, people want to provide. That's the only part of it. Obviously, I've got a family now, so of course I want to provide and things of that nature. But it's not typically the first thing. You know, typically it's options, freedom. You know, to be able to kind of provide as what comes into it. But you've just gone straight for that. Like, where do you think that comes from?
I think because I know I've come from nothing, and like money's always been a problem in a sense. Not a problem, but let's say a problem. That's real, a problem in a sense. Your options are limited if you don't have money. You can't even inspire people around you when you don't have money. You can't do much in this world. We live in a world where money runs. Like if people want to talk about, you can't be money hungry and all this. I'm like, but you live in a country or in a world that needs money to survive and thrive. Like the whole economy is based on money, generating money. Like everyone generates money. So let's stop being in denial about that situation. So for me, it's I've always wanted to amass wealth for the reason that I know when I can amass wealth, I can impact people around me. I can support. I can be a provider. So that's why it's kind of been my anchor in terms of like I need to build wealth. I need to do this, and more importantly, change the direction of where things have been going so far. In terms of like my family, where people have come from, how we've kind of built wealth. We haven't really built wealth. We've kind of just been going along and just doing the normal stuff. But I want to take it to another level and just inspire people. Like we can do more. We can become billionaires. There's no limitation. Like we can do that. We just need to get access to that information to allow us to get there.
Okay, brilliant. I don't think you've answered the question, but it's cool because I
Really?
understand. No. I know why you think you've answered it. I get it.
Yeah.
But I know what I want to know, right?
Okay.
So, but I think hopefully as we go through this, we'll unpack it.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll unpack it, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
because the reason I'm saying that is because it's not a usual answer, and it's really, really interesting because I feel like that must come from your experiences. Because for me, I also come from nothing.
Yeah.
Right. But if you ask me that question, for me,
Yeah.
it would be autonomy, it would be time, it would be freedom, it would be choices, right?
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people sat in that chair. It's been something similar, but but I'm also a very, very giving person. I'm also a selfless person. But that wouldn't be the first thing that come to my mind.
Okay.
That was the very first thing that you said.
Yeah, that's the honest first thing that came to mind.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's literally my first thing that came to mind. So I just said it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into that then. So if, and you know what, I watched this podcast. I don't know. You probably struck me as someone who would know who I'm talking about. You know, Patrick David.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Good stuff. So I was listening to on the podcast yesterday, and he asked this question, and when I was like, I like that. That's how I'm going to ask this question. So it's like, if we was in school together,
yes,
or, who were you in school?
In what context? Like.
So you just said, if you had to tell me like who you were at school, like how would you describe yourself?
Oh yeah, I can describe myself. So in essence, in school, I was quite like focused on like getting my education done because that's been an African background. All your parents drill into your head is get your grades, go to a good university, get a good job. So I wasn't a trouble kid. I had friends that were like getting into trouble, and obviously my parents always reminding me like, Alfred, don't come back home and problems. I don't want police knocking on my door saying you've done this, done that. So like they always remind me of that because that's the kind of environment I was in. So like I understood the environment I was in, but I was always fearful of kind of getting myself into trouble. So for me, it's like I had friends that are kind of getting up to bad stuff. Might be sometimes even around them when they're doing bad stuff, and obviously I'm always mindful of like I can't have this come on me. Like so I was someone that's just like very like easy to get along with. So I was kind of friends with everybody, like or at least like mutually kind of know each other, and kind of just ensuring that like I was just getting my grades. That was literally my purpose in school, like get your grades and get out.
Okay, that's really interesting because coming from a similar background to me, I know if you're how did that experience? Would you say how did that how did that affect your experience in school? Kind of being that kid who's kind of focused when everyone else is going up to madness. Sometimes you can almost be kind of isolated, right, from everything that everyone else kind of wants to be doing.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, no, I've got to kind of focus a little bit, which is it's not a, I don't want to say traditional, but it's not normal for a kid to have that. You know what? I've got to separate these two things at that age.
Yeah, because I was fearful. Like my mum would get on to me. Like, I'm not trying to get home and have my mum in my ears and like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not really. I didn't really like what we were getting up to. Like, so it's like I didn't want to be in that circle anyway. So for me, it wasn't exciting. I wasn't. Yeah, they're making money and they're doing all these things, and I don't kind of see exactly what like. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not. It wasn't. I was fearful. Like the what can happen feared me more than like being involved and trying to prove I'm friends with them because I'm now doing what they're doing as well. So no, I just kept on it. Like I knew what they're up to. Like I said, I could be around even them, which is kind of stupid as well at the time because if something happened, then I can be seen to be as an associate. But like I said, I was still friends with people like that. But I just understood that. Look, Alfred, your parents want you to get your grades and go to school, and that's it. Don't get yourself mixed up in no bullshit. Like just do what you need to do and get out.
That's powerful because that is something that a lot of kids struggle with, right? Actually, I'm from a good home.
Yeah.
I know what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But then there's also this element of peer pressure, and I'm also trying to fit in as well.
Peer pressure is tough, man. Like especially at a young age, like everyone can like really you can get bullied for not being this person or not being. But like I don't mind if someone like thought something of me because they're like, oh, I'm a lesser man or whatever. That's fine. Like I know what I want. I know I'm trying to achieve, so I don't need to conform to what. And then it's quite hard to say now, but like I don't know. I just had that mindset of like. I think the fear was bigger than me trying to please my friends and the fear of my parents and letting my parents down and being mixed up in that stuff. When they've like warned me and we had the conversations already, it's not like I didn't know, like I didn't know any better. So it's like I've been made aware already. We had to sit down and like, yeah, we know you're in this environment. We know this stuff like this. Just because your friends are doing drugs doesn't mean you can do drugs. If friends are having fights and getting into like gangs and stuff doesn't mean you can get into that stuff. So it's like I can't now say I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? So that fear was always there. Like I can't not know. Like, do you know what I mean? It's there. I was born in the UK, but I lived in Ghana till I was about the age of 11. So the
Okay.
discipline, the fear of elder, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's instilled in me already from a young age. So like coming to the UK, and obviously I came in at year 6. So I started secondary school like a year later. So like
Wow.
I still had the upbringing of, you know what I mean, a Ghana
100%.
background, and so it's like discipline and stuff, and just respecting your elders, doing as you're told. So it's like I can't now come in and always become this bad kid, and like
Mm,
I have
mm,
not come
mm.
from that. Like, do you know what I mean? I come from a good home, been taught well, manners, all that stuff, staying out the bad circles and stuff. So it's very hard for me to now do the opposite.
Absolutely,
Do you know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Yeah, no, that's why I asked that question because the way you were speaking, I'm like, this guy was born in Africa. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could hear it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, nice one, man. So, I mean, how did that then impact your results?
I feel like obviously when I came to the UK, I already kind of got the feel of like here is way more chill. Like, education wise, I feel like people weren't putting that much work as what I was used to, like
Hmm.
in Ghana, and like the level of like work ethic you needed to kind of even get decent grades in Ghana was much higher than what was in the UK. Like I see guys like they even like, oh, we'll learn later. I'm like, mate, I'm used to like sitting down nighttime, studying, reading the books. Do you know what I mean? And these guys are like, nah, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. We'll do it later. Like so, it was different, but like I didn't drop that attribute of what I'd learned in Ghana. I still kind of like, for me, nothing changed in a sense. Yes, I've changed environment, but I didn't just because I've changed environment, people are doing lesser things or not playing to the same level of maybe I was back or what I've been used to. Didn't mean I'm now going to make myself a lesser person. So I think
Mm.
some fun, like some foundations are just stuck, and it couldn't be undone just because of new influences. I wouldn't just, especially if I don't believe in that influence I'm now
Mm.
kind of being surrounded by. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say it could have easily been done. Right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's about the character of the person, the individual, and the choices that you made. Because there are other people who've kind of made that transition, but unfortunately, haven't quite had a similar mindset. I'll probably even put myself into that bracket. Right? I've always been smart, intelligent, but I didn't apply myself in school as much as I could have done. Yes,
yeah,
the discipline was still there, the respect, all of that. You like
yeah,
that just stays with you, right? But in
yeah.
terms of, oh, hang on, I don't even have to work as hard as okay, cool. Let me just relax a little bit. Then, you know?
Yeah.
So I did kind of fall into that bracket a little bit. So that obviously says something about you and about the discipline, the focus that you kind of had. Why do you think that is? I mean, what was it like growing up in Ghana?
Ghana, Ghana. So obviously, like in Ghana, like it's tough in the sense. One, you're kind of I haven't come from like wealth or something, so like everyone's trying to get you to kind of follow society norms, just go to school, get the good grades, and that's like the primary focus. Like as a child, like that's all they care about. Just get some good grades so you can get a job in the back end and start earning some money, and start building your family. So like that was like for me was like the main thing, and obviously my surroundings, um, it kind of shaped me to kind of just be focused on that because I didn't know any different. Like I grew up with my grandma and my auntie, and they were just kind of molding me to who I am today, pretty much in essence, because they're a young age. Um, so Ghana's obviously different in a sense. The wealth, I guess there is there's wealth now, but like there was wealth then as well. Don't get me wrong, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I wasn't exposed to much when I was young. Like I kind of knew, okay, there's some people that are wealthy, there's people that are poor, blah blah. Like we didn't have a lot, but like for me, I was grateful for where we were, and I didn't want it again. I was kind of have this fear of like I don't want to let my parents down, I don't want to let my grandma down. So I want to become somebody. I want to do something. So for me at that time, all I knew was like just get my grades, just keep working hard. But Ghana was good, man. Obviously, good weather, good environments. Everyone's friendly, everyone's happy, like just enjoying themselves. And obviously in Ghana and in Africa in general, like respect is like a big thing, like especially respecting your elders. So like very like basic stuff that we take for granted, like you just get taught to kind of respect your elders, do as you're told, don't question about it. They've lived longer than you, they know more than you, and so you just follow. I just did what I was told pretty much. I wasn't trying to challenge. I think I did have that inquisitive. So I'd hear you out, but I'd want to understand where you're coming from. So if I didn't understand you, I'll challenge it. If I understood it, I'll do it. That makes sense. That was something that I had as a my grandma used to say, Alfred, you always trying to talk, you always talk back. Like this is how you talk, you always talk back. And just shoot sometimes. But that's because of that thing of I was speaking back because I didn't understand, and
Mm.
once I understood, I kept quiet.
I mean, okay, cool. So now let's fast forward to schools in the UK because you know something similar.
Yeah,
How did that impact your school in the UK? So forget about the peer pressure from
yeah, yeah, yeah.
kids and all that, but in terms of your relationship with the teachers, with the hierarchy, how did that mindset affect your relationship with them in school?
I don't know. I just for me, obviously, when I got here, and I was like, okay, this looks like it's going to be a lot easier in terms of. I just undermined the system already straight away. I was like, yeah, this is going to be like way walk in the park. I'm not even having to study as much as before.
Hmm.
Everyone around me isn't doing that, but like obviously the teaching was still like it's still good. Obviously different. I'm still learning new things. Obviously, I'm going to secondary school and completely new to what I've learned in the past. But I still had friends back home. So like I kind of just speaking to them still and kind of obviously they're complaining about how tough it is, blah blah blah. And obviously I'm looking at here and I'm like, this is actually a lot easier. But in terms of the teaching, obviously things are different in the sense that there's no discipline. Like, no teacher can beat you here. Like so, like if kids were talking back and like challenging, I'm like, what's going on over here? Like this is completely different. So obviously I'm getting exposed to all this like freedom kind of in a way because obviously in the classroom, once teacher's teaching, everyone shuts up. You
Straight.
cannot open your open your mouth to say anything without them giving permission to speak.
Hmm.
Whereas in the classroom, like you've seen someone passing stuff around, talking, messing around, and obviously, so discipline was like lacking in obviously in this country. But again, like I said, it wasn't. It was a new experience, but I just knew where I came from, and I still had that. Obviously, but over time, being in a new environment, you're gonna start to adopt to their ways in a way as well. Because I start to kind of pick up on things as well. So like, even though yeah, I'm trying to stay disciplined and kind of stay true to who I was, you because you're in that environment all the
Kids are
time.
kids, yeah,
Yeah,
all
you're
the
gonna
time.
start picking up on things and start kind of behaving differently as well.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, I'm just really, really inquisitive, just really to sort of find out like the mindset in as in how you were kind of shaped and molded. And I think I've got some of those answers. So kind of leaving school, I'm assuming. How did you do at school?
I wasn't the smartest. I was like I was a B student. Like
Yeah.
I was a hardworking B student. Let's say it that way. So I,
Listen.
I wasn't I wasn't I wasn't like I wasn't getting the A's like A stars and like I'll get some A. I get some one or two A's, but like majority be like average. Like so I was like in the middle.
Yeah.
I wasn't failing. I wasn't like super smart in the room. I just put a lot of work in. I've always been like the whole Messi Ronaldo thing. Like I'm the Ronaldo type where put in
Ronaldo,
the
right?
work and you know what I mean and get the rewards. I wasn't naturally talented in terms of like being smart and pick up things quickly. I have to kind of keep putting the work in and doing it over and over again to get good at it.
Interesting. So when you left school, where did you sort of see yourself going? What were you thinking? Okay, cool. This is what my steps are gonna look like.
So I had this ambition of being a pilot. That was like this is back in Ghana. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe being in Ghana, seeing planes. I don't know where the dream came from, but like that was always my driving force. Like my grandma was like, I can't wait for you to become a pilot. Looking forward to obviously. I've left grandma back in Ghana, so that's always her messaging. Like when she call me, it's like, oh yeah, how's it going? How close we getting to? I'm waiting for you to fly me. All this,
License.
yeah, yeah, get license, all that stuff. So that was kind of my, I guess, what was leading me on the educational side of things. So I was gearing myself towards, okay, what do I need to kind of do to become a pilot? So my strengths are mainly maths and physics. So going into A levels, obviously I'm trying to get into uni and do aerospace engineering or do engineering in general to help towards the pilot stuff. And that's what I kind of played with. So I just kind of went down the route of kind of focusing on physics, maths to allow me to kind of go into the engineering and then go on to try and become a pilot.
Interesting. So did you go to uni?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you did. What did you do?
So I did aerospace engineering at university, and I actually tried to do pilot studies. And again, this is kind of where things kind of went south in a sense. With the element of the degree with pilot studies, there's like a 20 grand bill for the bit of pilot studies, i.e., when you go to do the lessons and you have to go to America during the summers to gain the experience and hours, more importantly, and obviously the exams as well. So when I wasn't aware. So obviously I signed up to this. It was aerospace engineering with pilot studies, but I just assumed obviously student finance was covering everything. When it was like an hour for so with the pilot studies, what happens is there's an additional 20 grand. Obviously, if student finance doesn't finance that for you,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to pay out your own pocket. I'm like, I don't. I've never seen 20 grand in my.
Yeah.
I can't call mum and dad and be like, oh yeah, can I get 20 grand please to do pilot studies?
You already know.
So it was a hard reality in a sense. I had to kind of drop it, and the reality is I can't afford to do the lessons, and so that dream kind of just got killed. Like, no way can I go and become a pilot now.
Do you know what I talk about this? I was I was putting my daughter to sleep. This is about 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I was reading her this book. It's called Hey You. Have you got any kids?
No, no, no.
Okay, when you get kids, you're probably gonna have to read this book. It's about black empowerment and letting them know that look, you can do whatever you want. Don't let
Yeah.
anyone tell you you can't
Yeah.
achieve anything. But as I was reading this book to her, I thought to myself, bro, how many parents are just lying to their kids out here? Because I'm reading this book now telling her you can be whatever you want and you can achieve anything you want.
Yeah.
But if I haven't got my money right, that's not true.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be limitations that they're going to come across.
Yeah.
And financially puts a barrier there. And it stops it, and it means they can't not push through that unless I'm in a position that says it doesn't matter. Anything you want to achieve, I've not put myself as a parent in that position to allow you to do that. Now I
Yeah.
can truly tell you that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing. And there is this separation. Listen, I'm a believer. I've come from nothing. You've come from nothing. So I'm a believer that you can go out there. I'm a massive believer in manifestation, the
Yeah.
power of achieving anything that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
But there are limitations. You wanted to become a pilot. All of a sudden, there was 20 grand in the way between you and achieving that rank.
Yeah.
For someone else with a different background, cool. There's 20 grand.
Yeah. And that's
So
what happened for other kids. Yeah. That's literally what happened for other kids. Their parents just said, yeah, here's 20 grand, go and do lessons. So like, there's an element of that. But I think I know more today, and I feel like if I knew what I knew now, I could have made it possible.
Let me ask you a question though. When you found out, because as a kid, I'm not going to the UK. I'm young, I'm 6, I'm 7, I'm 8. I want to become a pilot. I'm not going to the UK. With the way that we've been conditioned back home in Africa, you're thinking this is it. Like I'm getting closer now. I'm moving to the land of
Yeah.
honey and
Yeah.
all this stuff, right? Your grandma's there, cheered like, when are you going to become a pilot? When are you going to become a
Yeah.
pilot? You've studied hard. You've got your degrees. You've gone to uni.
Yeah.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
And then you get that 20 grand barrier.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel in that moment?
For me, it's like, what can I do? Like, it wasn't. I don't think I even kind of. It was like the reality is, Alfred, you haven't got 20 grand. You haven't. There's no time to even, because like it was like we need the payment like in the next few weeks. Like I'm like, this is not gonna happen. Like, there was no possibility at that time in my head, anyways, of how I could have made that happen. So it's like, okay, I got to clearly find another route. Which I wasn't too opposed to. Like, obviously, I'd love to be a pilot. Like, I still want to. So it's still a dream of mine to kind of still do lessons, get a PPO license. So just to say I can, as a hobby, I'll do as a hobby as opposed to, because the more I think about it and the more I thought about it at the time as well, is like the lifestyle of becoming a pilot meant that you're never really home. There's no really stability in terms of family as well. So like I do want to be around and not be like flying all the time. I'm landing here, I'm there for 5 days, come home, there for 2 days and then fly again.
Yeah.
So I didn't put in perspective the lifestyle that comes along with being a pilot. So like with all things kind of looking at everything as a shell, like it was actually not the worst thing.
I understand that, but at the time, I'm assuming you were not processing it this way at the time, right?
I was in a way.
Okay.
Obviously, I was kind of a bit gutted, like, oh damn, like because I knew that carried on, and it's like, oh, I'm seeing them go and do it, and I can't because of the limitation of I don't have the money. So there was that element, but the reality is, look, I can't dwell on these things. Like, there's nothing I can do to change this. Like, I can cry and be upset. Nothing's gonna change. I'm not going. Maybe in the future, if I make my own money and I decide I want to go in, which the realization was like, in the future, maybe I make my own money. I can afford to do my own lessons privately and pay for myself and still learn how to fly, but not become a pilot. Which is kind of okay. It is what it is.
Powerful, and that's the reason why I dwelt on that, because we always get blows in life. Right? And that's the introduction, right? Which is, listen, something happens to some people, and you know what? That's it. They're crippled now.
Yeah.
But other people say, okay, you know what? Okay, that's cool. This is what it is. Now we're gonna move on. We're still gonna go and smash it because this has happened. You ain't gonna stop me.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go on and just absolutely make sure whenever there's a 20 grand problem again, it's not gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the difference. You can either stay down or you can just decide, okay, cool, we're gonna push through this. So that's kind of why I was sticking on that. But awesome. So now you get to the situation. The pilot thing is now, listen, 20 grand, it's a myth. Like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
What are the next steps?
So I think this was year 2. Yeah. I think second year of university. So like, it's now just kind of focusing on just kind of getting the degree done and obviously now it's like job career. But I think I came to the realization I don't want to become like a technical expert. Me being an engineer and doing an engineering degree, you very easily kind of fall into becoming a technical expert, looking to get out of uni and get a job in a technical role as an engineer. But I kind of saw how these sort of kind of geeked out about like solutions and stuff. I'm like, I'm not a technical expert guy. I'm not trying to become that technical expert. So what I kind of geared towards was more like leadership, managing people, and that's what I think for me. I was like, okay, that's where I think I work best or I like. So I already knew kind of early on that I wanted to kind of go into like a managerial role in terms of I want to manage engineers. So I have the technical knowledge, but I'm not technically like I'm not a technical person in the sense become a technical
You
expert.
don't enjoy the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can know the high level and direct, and then that's where I want to be and that's what I want to play at. So I kind of geared my remaining years towards like a managerial position off the back of like just working on projects and always taking the leadership roles to like, build experience of managing people. And that's what I actually used to leverage to get a job on the back end coming out of uni.
Wow, incredible. And it's so powerful because, I'll be honest again, it's just that mindset of if how what percentage of people after the first year realizing this dream is dead would actually just continue to finish that degree.
No, because obviously the degree is still like valuable. Like it's like a high. It's a high income. Well, I say now I'm thinking it's high income, but relative at the time, yeah, it's a high income opportunity in terms of most being an engineer. Like even if you went like to another industry, people actually like to employ people who've come from an engineering background. Just for the simple fact, the way you are set
Problem
up as
solving.
you're a problem solver, you're solution orientated. You're just wired in a different way. So like it didn't matter if I went to another area or like industry completely even away from engineering, I was still favorable to maybe even someone that's actually studied the actual industry because of the fact of how we are wired and the way we think. So it was still valuable as a degree. So I could have gone into management consultant. I could have gone into like I don't know. I could have obviously gone into stuff around space and whatever. If I, in, like actual engineering, technical solutions, cars. So like there's opportunity to go down engineering routes. I didn't feel like I'm on a useless degree now. What I do now,
Yeah.
there was still wide variety of options
Okay,
for me
brilliant.
off the back
Brilliant.
of that.
Fantastic. Again, it's about, okay, this is what's happened. What's the next step? How can I still keep progressing and moving forward? So that's great. But you pivoted into this management. You realize, you know what, I don't enjoy this. This is
Yeah.
what I do enjoy. Let me kind of lean into this, right? So was that an option at uni where was there like a fork in the road where you could decide if you wanted to go down the technical route or the management route?
No, so it was more around like when we did a lot of projects, we were designing solutions to problems, and a lot of them were like project related, group related. So I'd experienced being a technical person in like one of the roles like early on. Like, okay, this is not it. I don't want to be a technical guy. Like I liked leadership stuff
Mm,
because it's just management of the task of the objective, and that to me seemed more fun and something I could relate to and something I can do well. So that's why I leaned towards that. So like literally after when I kind of came to a realization, I don't want to be a technical guy. Every role, any group project we're doing, I was like, I want to be the leader. I want to be the person managing the
nice.
group, and that I just built that up. And then on the final year, the big project we had to do for the final year, I took the leadership role for 12 engineers to build it was like a drone at the time. Yeah, drones weren't popular.
Big
This
thing.
when drones were now becoming a thing. Talking about picking up an object, delivering it to a new location, GPS tracking, all that stuff. So like, even saying that, I'm thinking, fucking, it's getting technical already. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I just wanted to kind of lead a team into developing that product as opposed to being the guy like what's the flight what's the speed of the thing, what's the payload way, like fucking
Mm,
technical things I don't
not
even
interested.
I'm not interested at all.
So leaving uni, you said
Yeah.
you actually, because of that, you were able to get a job.
Yes.
Yeah. And what was that? Was that still an engineering role or?
Yeah, so it was a project management role at Jaguar Land Rover. So I was working there on the first, I guess, project I did with them was like an engine, developing an engine. So that was the program that I was on, and just that was literally off the back of me like a month after my exams securing those. It was challenging in a sense. It wasn't the normal graduate role as well. It was the contracting side of things. So again, people kind of argue, oh, it's quite hard to get into contracting, starting out as opposed to like going down the graduate route. And for me, again, I looked at the salary, like graduate salaries on it. I saw two friends get contracting roles. I'm like, okay, if they've done it, I can do it. So that was for me like the go-to solution.
Nice. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't also think that you can come straight out of uni, go straight into a contracting role.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
It's
goes to show
possible. Anyone listening, it's possible. There's been more case studies, I'm sure.
Now that's powerful, but it goes to show the power of people around you because you saw a couple of
Yeah,
your friends go down
that
that
was
route.
all it took.
Yeah.
I was like, these two guys, I know them. I've been studying together. Like I know, like and they've done it. So why can't I?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Powerful, man. So when did property get involved in all of this? Because right now, this is you're going down this. I'm an engineer. This is the
Yeah.
path that we're going down, right? So when did property come into your radar? Like how did this all begin?
When I realized very simply that this isn't gonna earn like much, like the only potential in an engineer role, project manager role, isn't going to be what I want out of life. In a sense, I got to a point where okay, I want to decide like how do I start acquiring 200 grand, 300 grand a year in income.
I was gonna say, bro, 'cause if I'm thinking engineer, I'm thinking 80K plus. Like this is all right. What's the problem?
So once upon a time, I used to think, yeah, 60K, get 60K, life is good. Like you've made it, amazing. Then I got there. I was like, okay, this clearly is not what I envisioned for 60K a year salary. And this is no family, no nothing. This is just me as an individual. Like, and I was like, this how I can utilize that money I'm earning by myself. I haven't got a wife, I haven't got kids, I haven't got nothing. So when it comes to the equation, surely I'm gonna need more money. Not talking about my support, my parents when they get old as well. That becomes a bill on my head. I want to be able to pay them. Do you know what I mean? Like not rely on their pension fund to pay them. So these are all things I'm thinking. Okay, clearly this isn't it. So I got research. Okay, how can I earn more? And then researching. Okay, what's the earning I can get as a project manager, a senior project manager, like 150 grand, 200 grand, and that's like 10 years experience. So I'm now thinking, okay, do I want to play a 10-year game where my only potential to be able to earn is 150, 200 grand in 10 years time? Like when there's people that are making 150 grand a month, like why would I even wait? I just came to realizing this is clearly a wrong vehicle. Okay, with the mindset of like, I've always wanted to kind of amass wealth young. Like I've seen people around me that have amassed wealth in the 50, 60, and they're now they keep telling me I'm trying to enjoy my money for my kids, come and eat my money for me. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be cups. I've seen that, and I'm like, I don't want to be at that age and have that wealth. And it's like you said, the kids are now like you, all your labor is being enjoyed by everybody around you, by yourself, literally. So it's like I want to enjoy in my youth, the money, the hard work I put into like mass wealth, and then obviously my kids can come and enjoy as well. But like, let me enjoy while I'm young, as opposed to when I'm old.
Amazing. So I mean, I'm guessing there's a few different ways that you can do that. So why did you go down the
The
property
property
route?
route, yeah. So back to the original question, I guess. Why property? So the for me, the only thing I knew at the time that in terms of wealth creation that I knew a lot of wealth people have was property. And I always had this thing of during like my working career, I'd buy one or two properties every few years. So the back end of it, I have a portfolio that plays me out, and that's like my pension fund in a sense, supporting my lifestyle when I retire. So that was the first thing I drew to. Like, so I wanted to kind of okay, cool, let's get into property. How do we get into property? How does this work? What does it look like? So that was the initial go-to thing, and I didn't really explore any other avenues of creating wealth. I just knew for sure if I'm gonna make money, property is a sure way of making money. And I kind of went down the road of getting educated. So I started into podcasts, books, and yeah, we came across a seminar, went to the seminar, and that's where my mind blew in terms of like what was possible if you understood how to invest in property correctly. So I was like, fuck me, like why was this not taught? Like why? Yeah, anyways, it is what it is. You find out, you're like, fuck's sake, waste all my years. I could be so much further ahead. But it is what it is. So it's like, damn, I need to get immersed in this world. This needs to become my new norm. So I got very heavily invested into these programs, teachings, mentorships, to allow me to kind of acquire the information. Because for me, I'm a big believer. Like, if I'm gonna go and do something, I want to get educated first. I don't want to go in blind and try and guess my way
Why is that?
to do things. Just simply because the time spent to try and do it by yourself and figure it out yourself is, for me, like the whole concept of what's more valuable, time or money. People argue that time is more valuable, but then actions prove different. I.e., they won't spend money to acquire information. I'm like, well, clearly you don't believe what you're saying because your actions saying opposite. If you're in the mindset of, well, I don't want to spend 10, 15, 20 grand, whatever the number is, to acquire information, but you rather spend your time, which is you're saying is more valuable, going around trying to spend YouTube money, watching YouTube videos, reading books, and still not even knowing if what's right or wrong. Because another thing people are like, oh yeah, but I can go and search online. I'm like, okay, you do realize the internet has both the right and the wrong information. If you're someone who has no wisdom, no knowledge, no know how can you determine what's right and wrong? You can't. So for me, my mindset around that is I want to find the who's done this, can prove that they've done it, and they will show me the how. And I know for sure because of the track record, the results that they know the how, because look at what they've achieved. And that's my fast track to acquiring information. So for me, the money becomes a secondary thing because I value time more than money. I'm trying to build wealth young. I'm not trying to build wealth. I can build wealth, of course, by myself, not speaking to anybody, just researching again, doing the right and wrong things over time. But like time for me is once it's gone, it's gone. Like if an hour goes, it's gone. There's no getting an hour back. If $1 billion goes, you can still make £1 billion back. So people need to understand that concept of like, yeah, money is just like it's an object. It just comes and goes. It's not that valuable. Like time, once it's gone, people will pay billions of pounds to get 10 years, even a year back of their life. But you won't people. I don't know. People can't understand the concept. But I'm hoping one day they understand this concept.
Well, should I tell you what I've just noticed? Yeah, in that little moment, you just lit up. Like I don't know why. Like, why does that topic mean so much to you?
Because I just see it for our community. I just see it the most in our community. Like, do you know how many masterminds I've been to where they're high level masterminds, and all the know how is being discussed in that room, and I'm not the only black person in that room. Just put it transparent. Like I'm the only black. Like I'm like, why isn't there more of us in this room? Because you're all being like exposed or like being shown these opportunities, and you're like, oh no, the price is too much. What am I gonna get for this money? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, but these guys are going and getting results. The people that are speaking have done what you're trying to achieve. Like, if you know someone's done what you're trying to achieve, I guess I'm with the mindset of, if one man can, so can I. So that is the only like the data point I need. Like, if I can see that you've achieved something, why? Like, my question is now, why can't I achieve that? What's wrong with me? Why am I not in that position to be able to do the same they've achieved? Like, what? I'm now blaming myself that I'm not capable of achieving what it is. And for me, the realization is, look, the only difference is they had the know-how. That is it. There is nothing else. You can't tell me you're smart, blah, blah, blah. That's all limiting beliefs in my head. It's all limiting beliefs. So, like, I'm just like, if they've done it, I can. I just need to understand what identity I need to have to become this person to achieve this. Like, what's the know-how that I don't know, and find that person who's achieved it and learn from them. And for me, it's like it's a simple thing, but for our community, it's like we're stuck on this money. I'm like, money is not fucking valuable. Like there's a wider picture to this. Money, yes, people put like a big emphasis, and I think as well because there's been a scarcity of money, and it's like we have to overcome this scarcity of money. Like, look, guys, when you amass money, like the same person's telling me the scarcity of money, but you go and spend £1,000 on some label designer bullshit, like, and literally it doesn't add any value to you, but you're happy to spend that kind of money constantly as well. I know, like, it's a one-off thing. Like, one day, I'm going to buy some lubes. The next day, I'm going to buy this Gucci. I'm like, are you guys even processing what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, are you processing? How are you making sense of this shit? Like, you're broke, but you spend thousands of pounds on stuff that is adding zero value to yourself. How?
It depends on how you perceive value. Right, clearly from your mindset, the way that you're speaking, the way you perceive value is very, very different. Some people, listen, bro, I'm with you, but I'm just telling you, some people when they,
I'm trying to eradicate that mindset. Before I leave this earth, if I can eradicate that, I know I've done something.
I'm with you, and do you know, this is maybe a little nugget for you in terms of when you're trying to get this message across to people, because I truly feel, this is my honest opinion, that mindset or that decision-making process actually comes from a lack of confidence. So the fact that you don't want to invest in yourself comes from a lack of confidence. Because if you truly knew that if I make this investment in myself, I can achieve the very same thing that this other person has achieved, who I'm looking at, and I like their lifestyle, I like what they've got. If I knew that if I invested in myself, I could just implement what they tell me and I can achieve the same things, why in the world would I not do that?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I don't feel maybe I can't implement. So is getting that understanding into people saying you actually can. You need to know that you can, because you need to learn the steps. You got to invest in yourself to understand and have the knowledge. But once you have the knowledge, there's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about all these other people. Listen, I'm Alfred. I've sat in the rooms with these people. And we've all seen you. We've seen you, and the good thing about what you're doing is you document your process, right? So we know you've signed this room. So when you're telling us, listen, these people aren't smarter than us. Trust me.
I'm being some people even dumb. I know some smart people on this planet, and like, I'm like, bro, if you just apply this to this know-how, fuck me, like you would make so much more money,
Mm.
but you're just again just like I said, the whole concept of they're not willing to back themselves, and I think that's one attribute. Like I've always been. I don't know if people ask where'd you get the self belief from, where'd you get this confidence from. I honestly can't pin it down to. I don't know what it is or how I've gained this self confidence, but I just had the self belief of like it's possible as long as it's been done before. Like that is like my tick in the box. Okay. Like that one man concept of like one man can, so can I. Like it's once I've seen it achieved, it's like why can't I? Like this just for me it's a tough thing to explain, but like yes, I do agree. Like if you haven't got that self belief, it's even if you had the money, like you said, you won't back yourself. Because again, maybe areas of your life, even simple things, and I think people need to kind of I guess be self critical of themselves. If you are someone that you know maybe you're overweight and you know you want to lose weight, you know what you need to do, but you can't even do that simple thing of like okay, I need to go to the gym, get disciplined, eat correctly. Then it's like it's very very hard to now come to this concept of okay, spend 20 grand to go and learn a 7-figure opportunity. You can't because you can't do the simple thing. You're not backing some of this simple task here. This thing just sounds like a foreign, wild idea. Like no way in hell is impossible, even though like the blueprint exists. Do you know what I mean? So I do get that concept, but it's like we need to shift this identity to this identity of this person that believes that okay, it's possible to be able to do this and have that self belief in themselves that they can. And it starts from doing the small things.
Yeah.
Just literally every small area in your life. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. Don't say I'm gonna start my work tonight at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. comes, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. These little things are what's stopping you from even making the bigger steps. And I feel like that's I guess people need to adopt that mindset of like, look, you've got to get small things right, and then that will start to boost your self belief of okay, I did what I said I was going to do, and I achieved the result I wanted to achieve. And now, okay, cool, I've done it this time. I can now do it on a bigger scale, and that's I guess the momentum you need to be able to
Absolutely.
get there.
You feel good about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, let me try something else. I think the quote that summarizes that perfectly is how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes, exactly, and that's literally it.
Yeah, perfect,
Um,
bro. Yeah, man, that was I could just yeah, I could tell that. So again, we're peeling the onions, we're peeling the layers because getting to that answer you gave, which is like everyone. I want to be able to to support everyone around me.
yeah,
I'm starting to understand that's just kind of more of your character because you started speaking very passionately when you're talking
yeah. I
about
can't. I'm passionate
community
about it
and
because I just see it, and it's like I walk past. Do you know what I mean? I've got friends. Like, we all come from like same background, all in different levels, and like, and it's like I'm super. I get really like passionate about that topic because like I'm just trying. I don't know. It's like I'm hitting my head on a brick wall. I'm like, guys, just fucking back yourself. Just back yourself. Like I don't know. And I can't explain how to get them to back themselves in a sense. Like how do they get that self belief? Okay, I'm worthy. I'm enough to kind of take a chance on myself. I don't.
mm,
Maybe that's the bit I need to figure out. How do I explain that concept to people to kind of want to start feeling like they're worthy enough to kind of at least want it?
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a tough nut to crack, right? I've been at an education company for the past couple of years, probably the second largest in the UK, property education specifically. And
Yeah.
85% of people that come through that room, it said, look like me and you. And that's still an answer that I've not been able to crack because it breaks my heart. Some of these people are even in a position where they do invest in themselves.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the implementation of actually doing the
There's
hard
that as
yards,
well. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So there's also that element. So, if I get the answer first, bro, I'll let you know. If you get it first, you let me
Right,
know.
hold on, no, I'll be screaming some of the rooms like, guys, this is the secret formula to on breaking, like just getting off unchained from this leash of this, this
I'm,
mindset.
I'm telling you, bro. So how did you do your first property deal? How did that look like? So you've come to this understanding, you know what? Like property is a good way to
Yeah.
make wealth. So what was your next steps?
So for me, I didn't want to jump the gun and try and figure it out by myself. So I was a true believer. Let me get educated. Let me get in an environment whereby everyone does this, and this become my new norm. Because for me, the realization was, well, Alfred, you have nobody around. No, you can't call your uncle, your mom, dad. Like nobody's bought like an investment property before. Like you're on your own. So it's a foreign concept, and the only way you can normalize this is by surrounding yourselves with people that are doing this thing. So I got myself into rooms where people were. This is like a day to day. Like this is what they do day to day. It's like so I can learn from them. So I got educated. I spent £25,000 on my education, mentorship programs, all that stuff, courses, and that then gave me the know-how. And again, in combination with my project management experience during the corporate world, I kind of understood. Okay, the know-how is here now. I can build a team around this, and I can manage a team to help deliver my vision of what it is I'm trying to build out in property. So once I gained the confidence, the know-how, the know-how gave me the confidence that I can now execute on this. Because literally, for me, I always feel like fear comes from not lack of knowledge or not know-how of doing something. So once that gap was bridged, like gap was bridged, I closed the gap of that lack of knowledge. My confidence was high. So now it's about, okay, let's execute on the information that we have, i.e., let's find a deal, let's allocate the money to the deal, and let's do a deal. So for me, that my first deal looked like it was. I'm based in the Midlands, so I bought a property in Coventry. It was a price at £225,000. The refurb was about 90 grand, and then got revalued at 360. So
Wow.
in terms of like, even again getting the confidence of going out there and raising capital to be able to do the deal, because I didn't have the money, I'd pretty much kind of invested it more into myself first, and I'd learned that again you can go out there and utilize other people's capital. And again, foreign concept to me. I didn't know this thing existed. I didn't know this is what people do to kind of help them scale. So like, let me learn the skill how to raise capital, and then go about allocating literally the money to the opportunities I can find and scale. So like that one deal, obviously again, kind of coming back to engineering, I wanted to understand the process and kind of learn how I can improve the process each time I go around. So I didn't want to kind of, obviously getting back to kind of engineering / project management. When you do a project, you want to like understand your lessons learned before going to your next one. So let's say if I was to try and rush and maybe do multiple deals at the same time, I would have made the same mistakes on the multiple deals, versus if I just stuck to that first deal, got to the end, understood exactly the process from start to finish, what it looked like. How can I do it efficiently next time round? And then more importantly, what are the lessons learned so I don't implement on this next project? And now it's kind of my next. That was like my kind of, I guess, copy and paste of how do I improve each time. And each time I got better and better, and each time props were getting bigger and better. Numbers were getting better as well. And again, another concept: just get on with your deal, man. Your first deal will always be your worst deal for most people, anyways. I can say that your first deal is always your worst deal. You'll get better at doing things, much faster at doing it, executing it, and you just get better and better. So just get over the deal with the first one. Just get something done, and you'll progress and do better the next time around for sure.
What did you learn from that first deal?
A lot of things, man. So obviously, again, starting in first project HMO project, usually told don't do HMO starting
I was
out.
gonna say you went into the deep end,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But again, but back to the know-how. Like I had the confidence that I've got enough know-how. I've got a team that can execute on this several times over. Because again, I understood ultimately I'm not the one delivering on the project. My team is. So my ability to select the right team is the key factor in allowing me to achieve my goal. So obviously, yeah, going to HM is like a steep learning curve. There's so much to consider and so much to kind of know. And there was things that I'd hindsight, like I wish obviously I'd considered. Very simple things. Again, nothing major. Like they weren't like, it wasn't like a deal breaker. Or like it was just nuisance as more than a deal breaker. Or like I'm losing money. It was simple things like socket locations. So I was of the mindset of, well, this team of, they understand projects, they build properties. I provided them a floor plan which kind of has a high level of furniture layout. So I just assumed they would communicate that to the electrician or those coming in and doing the first fix electrics, just to ensure that the sockets are going in the right places based on the layout. So obviously I was blind in a sense. I wasn't paying attention to, well, okay, I've seen the sockets been bad. I looked to see that matches up with the layout of the furnishing. So it was late on in the project. Like I'm like, okay, I've just realized there's a wardrobe going here. There's a socket. I'm like,
Makes
why
no
is the
sense.
socket being placed? And obviously it was too late. And now we're having disputes about, oh, why is the socket here? You've seen that the wardrobe is here. Why would you put a socket behind the wardrobe? Like, what's the functionality of that? Like, this room's not functional. We had a room whereby like there was like a hallway into the room, and for you to turn the light off, you have to go all the way back to the front door to be able to turn it off and come back to your bed in the darkness. I'm like, this again, functioning doesn't make sense. So it's like the layout in terms of like where the sockets and just even that alone, like simple things like that. Next time around, I was like, okay, now I want to have a bedside socket. I don't want my tenants to be able to have to get up to the door. It could be it could be just be there, but I don't want no. I want a convenience. Okay, I can flick a switch here and my lights are off in my room, for example. So stuff like that. Like it was just we learned a lot, man. There's just one to name, but like just it was little things like this that knew that next time for sure I would
Yeah,
implement and get right first
that's a
time.
great point to highlight, though. Great point to highlight because the truth is, someone who's doing a project for the first time is not really going to think about that.
Yeah, you're not. You're
But it's
not.
also such an important element because is it feng shui or whatever, but the feel and the flow of the property is really, really important for, for just being comfortable. That little thing of getting up at your bed to
Yeah.
go and turn the light off and then come and
Yeah, like I just wanted to create a product where one, it's their home. Two, they feel comfortable and it's just ease of use. Like for me, I'm big on like functionality of what is the functionality of this room? How does this make the person have at ease when they're in the room?
amazing.
Do you know what I mean? So that's always been a thing for me.
What do you feel like the power of brand building is when it comes to property?
Massive. I'm a big believer. Personal branding is so important in the sense I was able to leverage my personal brand to allow me to raise more capital. If the 2.5 million I've raised of like this is just loans I've raised from people like in my network, people that I've kind of through social media and stuff. That's all come because I built a brand. I
You
built a
said
store.
2,500.
2.5 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, 2.5 million pounds is what I've raised from like private investors, people in my network. And not to say I had like a rich network or anything. I had work colleagues. I had people that had money at work, so that's why I started off. But me documenting my journey and creating a story, like it's built this like no like and trust factor, even from a distance. So it got to a point where like people seeing the results I'm achieving, and they're like, Alfred, I've seen you help my investors get great return on their money. I've got some money. How can we utilize this capital? So for me, if I didn't create that brand, that like no like and trust factor, of just being online and being having an online presence, showing my stories in terms of good and bad as well, people wouldn't have built this like no like and trust factor through what they were seeing of me. So for me, it's like I'm so grateful. And I'm like, I'm super gonna build on that. I want to build a world international audience because I know what comes with that. Opportunities have come off the back of that. Not just even like just property deals specific, like business opportunities. Trying to employ people. People want to work with me because they see what I'm doing. They want to be a part of my business, my company. So like just being out there, like it just brings you in essence create your own luck
Mm.
by being out there. So people shy away from. I get it. It's like, oh, you want to be private, but like I've always been big on like sharing my goals and sharing my vision because you're just putting it out there and potentially attracting or creating up like for me, I'm creating opportunity for somebody to attract to me and want to help me get to my vision.
Have you
So
always been confident with the camera?
no, like no. I think I've documented it. People can see like you can see my first few videos. If you go all the way back to my Instagram and scroll all the way to the bottom, you see how I started out in terms of like content. I used to be behind the camera. So I'm behind the camera walking around and talking about the project of the projects. Then I kind of got a bit confident. Okay, cool. I've been talking a lot behind the camera. Let me get in front of the camera. So again, still iPhone in front of the camera, trying to walk around and talk at the same time. Then I guess I started to kind of see others kind of create production in terms of like getting a videographer on board and creating better quality content. So again, it took time to kind of get to that level of confidence. But even when I did the first ever house tour with a videographer, I still wasn't confident. I just said it needs to happen. Like I need to find a way. Like I knew over time I'm gonna get better and better at it. So it's like just get comfortable in front of the camera. And I just did it. I just did, and over time I got better at it.
The power of just starting, right?
Yeah,
It's like it's always weird because I always said to people, that, oh, bro, you're everywhere, your content, all of them. Like, you can literally go back and look for my timeline. You see, I never used to post content. It wasn't
yeah,
something, but it gets to the point when I realized, well, this is something that's important for the growth of my business.
100%.
Then okay, well, we just have to do it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? That's ultimately what it comes down to. So you got to be very, very clear on why you're doing this, not to get out there so everyone can see you. If this is important enough for you, for your business, and it's just another metric for you to gauge your business
yeah.
growth by, then it's something you do,
And,
right?
and, and another thing as well, like it just shows what's possible as well. Like people see you and they've seen how you've grown. Like a lot of our friends have like, oh, we know we knew before you came the Alpha guy that everyone knows now. Like we've known you had nothing. You wasn't even on a camera. You wasn't even like on socials. And you kind of lean into all these things. And now you're actually impacting others. You're actually inspiring others to do the same and show them it's possible. Like because again, what usually happens when people build wealth, they kind of hide and they don't show the know-how. They don't expose. Like they just keep it to themselves. Like, I show you where I go and acquire information. I've documented it. Like even like, oh, maybe you want to show where you're kind of learning from, and I'm like, listen, I don't care. Like there's abundance on this planet. Like why do I need to care if I'm showing the world that I went to this exact teacher, this person, this mentor? It doesn't matter to me. Like I'm showing you what I'm doing, and it's working for me. I can't guarantee to everybody like, oh, because you go here, this is gonna happen for you. I guess there's attributes like you said. People still come in and they're not going away and implementing the information, or they're not I guess persevering enough to kind of see the results. Because again, that's another thing. Getting told no hundreds of times is not fun. Not a lot of people are cut out for that resilience and still keep moving forward after that many rejections. So there's a constant, I think for me, there's a constant need for personal development in terms of your mindset, being resilient, just not taking no for an answer and keep moving forward. You have to kind of keep working on that and just know that it's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. You keep saying it's gonna work. It's gonna work. It just takes. I used to have this thing on my screensaver. Like, look, you're one contact, one person, one decision away from changing your life. So like, just don't ever get like bogged down on like, oh, it hasn't happened yet. It's not working. You had too many rejection. Maybe that one person's the next person. Just keep going. Like, just keep going. Like, just for most people that have achieved wealth and success, they just kept going. They didn't give up. Like I say, look, if you truly dedicate 24 months to one thing and don't get diluted looking elsewhere, get narrow focus on that one thing, I promise you, 24 months even before 24 months, you will have the confidence. Yeah, this is just a matter of time now. Like, I have this concept like in my head now, like, I'm gonna become a billionaire. That's like, it's just a matter of time. Like, for me, it's in my mind there isn't a way that I don't hit that figure. And it's not a monetary thing. It's more the impact I create getting that level of success as well, or level of wealth, shall I say. So it's just clear in my mind. I don't have the mechanics just yet, but I just know I'm speaking to existence. I'm putting out there that one person I'm that one person changes everything, changes directory of the know-how, and I get there. So like, I'll just keep moving forward.
I think you've got the mechanics, bro, because the truth is, do you know Jamie York?
Yeah.
So he was the first guest I had in the podcast, right?
Okay.
And he said something that just kind of stuck with me since then. He just articulated it. It's kind of what we've probably heard him a million different ways, but he articulated, and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. And we're speaking about outputs and inputs.
Yeah.
So when you say you haven't got the mechanics yet, you already have. The goal of $1 billion is just the output.
Yeah.
$1 billion, that's where I'm going to get to. That's how I want to achieve.
Yeah.
The inputs, the mechanics is what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep just focusing on your next 6 months goal, your next 12 months goal, and then your next 3-year goal, and then the next 5-year goal, ultimately that $1 billion is going to come. That's just the output.
Yeah.
What is the inputs, the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
That's what's ultimately going to get you there. So you're already on that journey, bro.
You know, I'm definitely on the journey. Like, for sure. And I'm just trying to, I guess, get around more people that have achieved that level of success as well, to kind of understand their mindsets and their identity more importantly. Because the person I am now isn't the person that's going to become a billionaire. Like, that person's still got like a long evolution to kind of happen before they get there. So I do believe as well, like, you are a different person in different stage, and the strategy as well is different from different levels. From 0 to 1 million, it's a different strategy. From 1 million to 10, from 10 to 100.
Say that. Right, I've heard him. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, I'm guessing. I don't know. Grant. I don't know.
GC. I've heard him say that. Yeah. He was on the. It was the call that he had with Alex Hormozi.
Yeah. Okay.
Alex Hormozi was actually being mentored by him at the time, and he was talking about, no, bro, you got to make different moves now.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't do this. That was for like 10, 20, 50 million.
Yeah.
Now it's like, this is what, and it's like.
Yeah. So 100%. The strategy changed as you evolve. Like, the same strategy you took to your first 10, 20 will definitely change.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, this why for me is there's a constant growth. You can't feel like you get to a point you've made it and you're just gonna. I don't care even if you become a billionaire. Like, it's getting there. It's
Elon Musk.
Not even that. No, I'm more thinking of like getting to the top, or people like to get to the top, or getting to your destination. You could still like fumble it and lose it all. There's billionaires that have been and lost it all. So it's not like you get there and like, oh, life is now different. I'm now easy. Like, you don't pay attention, you're gonna lose everything. Promise you. So for me, I know I'm gonna be a student of the game forever. I'm always gonna be like trying to get into new rooms, like learning. It's just a lifestyle now. It's like learning is a lifestyle. I'm not thinking I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna stop. No, it's till I die. I'm gonna keep learning. I'm gonna be inquisitive, try and find know-hows, try and meet new people, get exposed to new things. So it's a constant development alongside just personal development in general.
Wow.
You will evolve and keep evolving.
That's powerful, bro. That's powerful, man. So we've got 2 traditions on the podcast. I told you about the first one at the very start.
Yeah.
So the second one is the very, very last question, which is this. Now, you've done incredible things. You know, just kind of, again, like I said, I've been admiring you from afar, just watching you, then going, you know, this guy he's doing it right. Do you know what I'm saying? He's doing it right. I love the stuff that he's doing. So it's been really, really great just kind of watching your journey.
Yeah.
But you have also accomplished a lot of things. So today, what now remains your need to succeed?
I've got there's so many reasons. But I think there's so many things, man. Like, people think I've made it, or like I'm set, and for some that's them. But like, I don't feel like I've scratched the surface. Like I haven't even, if borderline have boldly can say I haven't even started. Like I'm just getting momentum. Like I'm nobody. I'm not even anywhere near my potential. Like I feel like there's so much more I can do. There's so much impact I can give. There's so much wisdom I can share, like know how I can share. So like I just know like money's a byproduct of like all these things. Like being able to impact my family, being able to care for my future kids, misses, whatever, like just everything around me. Like so that's my, I guess, my driving force, just to know that like I know life gets tough each year in terms of like even expenditure. People need to come to realization. If you look back, your expenses have increased every single year without fail. Something's Life just has this way of just hitting you, and oh, you need this now, you need that now. Oh, now that's coming in the equation. And I just know like that's gonna keep increasing as I grow, because I just family getting old, I have to look after them, or I feel like it's obligation for me to look after them. I don't want them like struggling or like needing, like I'm there, like you guys have helped me get to where I am. I helped me grow, get to the stage. Now it's my turn to look after you guys. So it's like that's one thing. I've got my own family as well to look after and grow them too. So do you know what I mean? These are all things that cost money. Like it costs to be able to educate, like look after, blah blah. So for me, it's yes, I've got this personal ambition, and again, it's external to these things as well. Because I feel like even if I could do those things, I need to have that fulfillment in myself that I've hit or achieved certain things I want out of life as well. So there's two elements. Not just like I want to provide. Providing is all great. Like if I'm not feeling fulfilled, I'm not achieving what I want to achieve, then I still feel some sort of emptiness in me. And it says I haven't done what I need to do yet. So providing is one thing, but like I guess it's a byproduct. If I achieve, what I achieve allows me to provide. So for me, there's a level of fulfillment as well in there that I need to be working. I need to. I don't believe the concept of retiring. Like people that fucking believe in retirement, like listen, I don't know what planet you live on, but like I don't know any wealthy person that's like just sit back and do nothing. Maybe they're 80, 90, but like there's even that. They're so like they just love the game. They just want to be in the game, and it might be like a smaller scale now versus what they were actively doing back in the day. But like they just love to be in the game. Bro. When you get into business, it becomes a game. It becomes fun. Like I love challenges. I want to find solutions to problems. I just love the game. So for me, it's just I'll keep playing it to the day I'm done. Time's up, and yeah, that's it for me.
Well, Alfred Dzadey, thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.